Hey, I don't actually know if anybody's here. Dude. Hey, welcome. This is a Thursday, which is actually a Friday, because Veterans Day is tomorrow and I got the day off. I thought while I was sitting there at work today, finishing my day, I would sit out here and say hello. So if you got a question, chuck it in the comments and I will do my best to field it. Damn. Hey, welcome. I hope you're subscribed to the channel. If not, welcome. It is a beautiful Thursday evening. The kids are asleep and it is time to work on my latest project. While I'm here, if you're here, I'll answer any questions you got and hopefully make a seal. It's a very odd project. It's rude. Welcome. Doing a little bit of sculpting on a nice Thursday evening. And you stole it and wasted all my... La, da, 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 da. It's the most unappealing. Well, might as well just go for it. I actually don't know how to turn this thing off. So the plan here is to sculpt this seal. Now this seal is part of a build project series that I'm doing for SR3, which means SR3 means response, rehab, and research for wildlife. Now, they pick up things like this little representative stranded seal and, well, they make sure that they survive. These little guys end up all over the place. So what I'm actually mixing up right now, and apparently you get an arm workout doing it, I'm actually mixing up a product called Magic Sculpt, and the Magic Sculpt is a pretty cool thing. Now, unfortunately, Magic Sculpt is like the consistency of rubber until you get it wet. So you kind of knead it in like bread. All right, so the consistency is going to end up being something like this, where it all turns out white. You see the consistency there? Like a white putty. And yes, that's very tiring. In my videos, you'll actually see that this stuff is in time lapse, so it goes really, really fast. But the goal here is a nice consistent thing, because I got about 45 to maybe an hour of mixing, or well, working time with this kind of material. So epoxy clay is definitely something that sets up fast, so you got to be ready. Now you also want to add a lot of details, so you got to be careful how much of this awkward looking contraption here Mr. Hanky looking stuff actually is mixed up because it takes a while to spread out. But the goal is a nice, even, consistent look on your carving. But you're gonna take off little pieces like this and flatten the crap out of it like you're making some sort of weird pastry. So once it's all thoroughly mixed up, you can use water to dilute it, and that does help a ton in working time and workability. So I highly recommend getting it to 1/8 of an inch, so nice, thin, think pancake consistency. It takes a lot of work to get it flat like this, so you're gonna get an arm workout. Reality is, I don't care how I get there, I need a nice floppy texture to it. And then it's just on to laying it up. So water, cup, work magic, take it down here, and we'll rally up down here. This is Flubber, the seal. Flubber, the seal, is going to SR3, which SR3 means respond, rehab, and research for stranded marine wildlife. They are a rad organization, nonprofit, so I am donating this because Flubber's face here is actually going to go inside, and you'll be able to take $1 or a donation of any kind, throw it into a herring, which is a little carving I'm going to make, and insert the $1 into the herring and insert the herring into the face of Flubber. And from there, you feel all warm and fuzzy because you just donated to save baby seals. They are adorable. I just got to watch baby seals being released the other day because now is the time that the ones that get abandoned on the beach, unfortunately, they are picked up by SR3 staff, taken care of, fed herring, and they're just happy little things, most adorable big bug-eyed things you've ever seen. And eventually they get to Chungus state where they get really chunky, and then it's time to let them go. So it's really fun to go out and witness something that these people put a lot of love into being released back into the wild. So as you can see, this is called Magic Sculpt. If you just tuned in, Magic Sculpt is something I sniped off Amazon. Pretty cool product. It's an epoxy clay. And I'm by no means a professional clay artiste, but I'm a guy who can figure it out. So you're applying a thin layer of it across the surface, massaging it into the foam, and the end result is something that looks like a pancake strewn across it. Now, I also have another fancy kit off Amazon consisting of all sorts of tools. Those tools are about 20 bucks for a kit, so you can't go wrong. Like 20 bucks, you'll have all these fun, fancy torture devices that you can actually use to add texture. It's hard to see it here, but every single hair on this sucker is hand done with a very, very fine scraper. So you can go in, use all these little devices to get a nice, realistic look. So again, you have about a 45-minute to an hour working time with Magic Sculpt once you blend part A and part B together. And that may seem like a lot of time, but yesterday I was sweating trying to get this stupid thing all done. But what it does is you take your foam, you could whittle a piece of foam, which in this case, you've seen blue foam when you go to Home Depot. This is just laminated blue foam. The simplest thing in the world to carve. You laminate it together with this, which is the stuff you put in your house to fill gaps. And you laminate it together, put weight on it, have a basic form, and off you go. You can make anything pretty darn cheap. But once you get a layer down, I'm following contours that are kind of tough to see here, but obviously on a seal, you can kind of see the Chungus lines that come up and down. Those lines, I'm following that with my, like wetting my fingers here. That's what I keep doing off camera, awkwardly. I'm just wetting the whole thing down and massaging that down any one of these flabbies, and that'll give me some surface to work with here in the future as far as when I go back and texture. When this stuff hardens though, you can bounce a freaking hammer off of it, so you kind of want to work quick. But I do have a little ball basically working up a couple pieces the size of golf balls, and you definitely work hard for it, but it's worth it. Get a nice consistency. You can kind of see there's two different colors that come with this, so you know when you got a good mix. And once you're at that stage, flatten it out. Keep wetting it down because that gives you more working time and less strain. I'm literally losing breath. That's my state of being in health. So, stretching it thin, and then I'm gonna, after I set this piece down, just kind of awkward watching you guys here and then this here. And if you have any questions, I've never done live before, so I will do my best to like field any questions you got on sculpting or, well, anything really. It's Thursday night. I don't have to work tomorrow, so let's just chat. There we go. But maybe in the meantime, while I'm pushing this clay-like material into this harbor seal, I can give you some fun facts about harbor seals. The ones here, the harbor seals that we have up in the Puget Sound where I'm at in Washington State, they can live up to 25 to 30 years, which is pretty impressive considering that, well, they're outside all the time. They also, primary diet, crustaceans, so crabs, stuff on the bottom, all the critters, clams, scallops, whatever you got. And then you also have herring. So that's a primary food source, is herring for these. They also eat salmon. I've seen them actually just recently chasing some of the coho when I'm walking along the waterfront, which is really cool to see. But yeah, they get to be a couple 100 pounds. They're big, like really big. And really weird Wikipedia style fun fact, they can hold their breath for 30 minutes, but they don't really hold their breath. When a seal inhales, it actually exhales as it goes under. So that's kind of a weird fact. It's not like humans where we hold our air in and magic happens, and then we eventually have to let it out and come up. The reason they can hold their breath is they use the oxygen in their blood to, well, use the oxygen, which means they have a really, really high efficiency rate. Their oxygenation, the amount that they can actually use in one breath, is 90%. So effectiveness, I guess, of use. Humans, on the other hand, are about 20%. So seals are way, way more efficient. But hence, that's why they can go underwater for 20 minutes at a time. Let's see, what other fun stuff? So we got predators. Now, the next project for SR3 after this one is done is actually a life-size killer whale dorsal fin. And you probably thought I was gonna say a life-size killer whale. My shop is all of 11 by 19 feet. So that wouldn't happen. I wish, but it'd be a lot more foam. The dorsal fin that I get to make though is specific to a member of the J-pod. So the team over there has sent me a specific whale to emulate. And I am super excited to do that because that is the main predator for this kind of an animal. All right, so we are looking pretty darn good. Now comes the part where I use my fancy tools and I get to start matching the pattern that's already currently existing here. It's hard to see, and I'll probably give you a close-up here, but the idea is I'm gonna take this little ball, very end of that is actually just a little ball, same on this side, even smaller. I'm just gonna apply detail. And the more you wet it, the better it actually goes. So I'm gonna zoom you in, nice and close. Ooh, that was the worst sound ever. Hopefully that'll help out perspective-wise. You can see we have a nice working surface. Ideally, I would have probably done this with a hard coat down first, which is a product that covers and fills in the foam a little bit. But reality was, I didn't, and we're cruising. Because you can see there's maybe there's little chunks here that are part of that surface, but you can see the texture up here. That's essentially what I'm going for. and I am just basically cruising this thing along. So right now it's still really wet, and you can define it. And it doesn't take a lot to actually define it, because right now as it's wet, it's okay. And you could take a little bit of water on your finger and actually just even things out too. But when you apply paint, primer and paint, you do end up filling in some of the voids, the fur style voids. So you can just know that you're gonna actually fill in a lot of it. You're just going for a very subtle look, and there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. You want to avoid any kind of a pattern, or at least it's not like a fish scale where if you get out of your angle that you're doing, cross-hatching wise, you end up with something that's your eye automatically draws to it. That'll drive you nuts. This is literally just overdose the coffee and start sketching these suckers on there. Happy little seal. And I guess one of the other things that I kind of uncovered yesterday in my initial run at this is thinking about how your body is when you're turning your head or doing something odd. A seal is the same way. They have a skull that's inside this chungus neck of theirs. And you have all this muscle, and you have everything kind of angling the fur in different directions. So following that direction is really important. Trying to just figure out when these pieces of body roll around, like what is it actually going to do to the hair that's in that general area. Let's see if we can give you some more light on the situation. For those of you who have maybe just popped on, this is a seal, and it's going to be a very fancy looking seal. But right now we're just kind of getting into the details, the nitty gritty of this sculpture. So there's a long ways to go. And it is literally one piece of fur at a time. So you can see this in the actual video that I'm working on too. So don't think you have to stare at all of it. So the nice thing about having that blue foam that you see underneath is you want to get that just relatively close. That foam itself can be relatively close. And you don't have to live by that being like perfect. Because this stuff, I'm building up this Magic Sculpt stuff, this epoxy clay, is actually being built up to create a new layer. So it's all right. You just want to kind of slowly push it into the foam itself. And naturally the foam, as I've been working the foam, I get lots of little chunks. You can kind of see that chunkiness. That's okay. It does end up looking like crap here for a little bit, but the end result dries beautifully. So don't worry about it. Yeah, welcome to the first time I've ever gone live. So usually I'm at the end of a very long form video on carving. I just kind of was sitting at my desk today thinking, wonder what everybody's up to. So if you want to let me know in the comments, or if you have any questions, let me know. So right now, I'm just working on a very strange seal. But again, just taking smaller pieces, laying them out flat, and massaging this in. It actually is quite relaxing. I haven't got a chance to do much clay work in my life, but it's quite enjoyable. And then coming in, following up, and just detailing with my clay kit. Which, barrier for entry with any foam carving compared to something like woodworking. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll see I got a couple grand worth of woodworking tools just milling around. Those, like the clay stuff, or the foam carving, you don't need a lot of overhead. You just need space, like a space large enough to do something like this. This is just a seal pup. You know, it's not anything that's crazy. I do have a 10.5 foot tiger shark out in my garage that was made from foam. Yeah, you need some extra space for that. But the reality is, you don't need a lot of space for foam carving. You certainly don't need a lot of expensive tools. Like, majority of what I got for this is right there. Like, that's it. Hey, get the little cowboy hat, nice. Yeah, so that's essentially like the extent of my stuff that I have for my foam carving. The reality is, other than that, some basics. Again, you don't need a whole lot. Simple wire brush for stripping off paint from auto projects around your house. Different grades of wire brush. This one's a little bit finer. Again, Harbor Freight, like $1.99. Not expensive. I stole this one straight out of my kid's play school toolbox. She still doesn't know it's gone, and she ain't never getting it back. What else do I got? Random scrapers, small stuff like this, little rasps. Really helpful. But yeah, that's essentially like low barrier for entry here. You don't need a whole lot. And patience. It helps to be able to sit there, put on your headphones, and just zone out for at least an hour when you can do something productive. And yeah, there you go. Been a lot of interesting stuff happening around too. There was an election. I hope y'all voted. I think about 32% of my county actually turned out to vote, which is really, really sad considering how many people actually whine on Nextdoor about voting. I kind of figured it'd be like 80% given the number of whiners. But you know, voting is a fun thing that we actually have to, you know, go through every now and then. And if anyone on here is well, involved in that process or part of elected office, please fill out your little who you are bio. I know a few people, one guy in particular who just ran, who filled out the bio. I appreciate those things because I like to vote for people I actually understand and know. But just a guy detailing a seal. I'm gonna zoom back here. That was awkwardly close. I felt very close to you at that moment. All right. Look at that sad doe eyes on this thing. Now, speaking of eyes, I actually cast in resin. I went through my wife's resin kit and I cast my own black, jet black eyeballs. So that is just off of a sphere mold. And these little guys are actually gonna live right out there. I mean, they're all freaking pupil. A seal is all pupil. Like, it's tripping out all day long. I don't know if that's actually the case, if they're just losing their damn mind, but I kind of figure that they are, because if you're all pupil all day, like, you're having a day. You're just crazed. But maybe they need that to get down deep enough. I mean, these things can dive down to 200 feet deep. So if you're diving that deep, you probably need all the light you can get, if there is any light at that depth. So you never know. Maybe that's why I can't. I might have to Wikipedia that one. But yeah, if you look at images of seals, like baby seal pups, it's I mean, adorable. Then Instagram suddenly keys into the algorithm and you're stuck with it for the next year. But once that happens, you just accept that there's cute, adorable seals everywhere. And you'll realize that they are all people. So anybody got any projects like this that they've considered working on? So Bushman, I see Bushman 85 there. Any big projects on your books like this, or is it just you just wonder what the heck is going on here? Kind of madness. Just a guy carving a seal. Now I do estimate by the time I'm done with the epoxying of this thing, I'm going to be seeing stars, and I'll probably have done about 2 million of these stupid little fur things. Now, if I were smart, and what you can do with these kind of things is actually take a pattern. So you can make your own silicone mold or something with some more rigidity to it. You can use it like a stamp. Now, I'm not smart. I'm just going to sit here and hug this little piece of blue seal. And, oh, just rustic Christmas presents. Oh, dude. So you're going like full tilt. I appreciate this. Going full tilt and making Christmas gifts for people. My hat's off to you. That's a labor of love. Now, remember, if you make something epic for people, they will forever, like something useful and something epic, they will forever be like, have to be in your good graces. Like my buddy made me one of those fancy wood whisperer, like cross-hatched chessboard looking cutting boards. I use it every day and it's like a guilt trip. And I have to like actually smile when I see him too, to remind myself like, damn it, he got me, he made that for me. It was really cool. I use it every single day. So if you come up with something cool like that, awesome job. I actually made a video. I'll show you something I worked on here for my Christmas gifts. So I recently did a video on making Christmas gifts because I will never live up to making people cutting boards for Christmas gifts. I just make them ornaments. So this little guy is a salmon smolt, which would conveniently fit right in the face of that thing. That is something that is really easy to make. I think this cost me all of 40 cents. And the end result looks like that. So that's painted up to look like a Chinook salmon par. Now those make really cool Christmas ornaments for people. So something to consider. I did a little video on that because a company actually gave me some resin to play with that doesn't kill the world kind of resin. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was good. That's kind of the extent of my holiday gift building. Oh, we got some other, what is that? Your Mama Abby. It's so cool. Wow, thank you. Thank you. This is an adorable little seal pup that I have handcrafted out of foam. So this is the type of foam you can get at Home Depot. It's all of like 35 bucks for a sheet. And it is glue laminated together with styrofoam. The same stuff you plug up the holes to keep crap out of your house in the winter. That is what is the Oreo stuffing on this sucker. So it's really super inexpensive to do and it works great. Plus, unlike my wood carvings, if I screw something up, I can just bolt it back on. Well, not bolt, I can just glue it back on with more of that. But you can kind of, with that technique, that foam, you can make anything you want. For example, in my garage, I have a 10.5 foot tiger shark hanging there, which I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with that. But it was amazing to build. There is a build video on my channel showing that thing. It did end up in the science classroom for a while. I also have a Homotherium cerium, which is a full-size saber-toothed tiger made out of blue foam that is in the process of making that as well. So that's a future build video. I feel like I should have improved audio and we could just do like ASMR videos of random clay making tools. Be weird. So Rob, if you're still on here, what if you could put in the comments, what kind of projects are you hoping to make for folks for your Christmas gifts? Now I always have lofty, I mean, I make those simple, you know, things I actually showed up here earlier, just those little fish carvings and stuff. But I always have like loftier goals, like I'm gonna make people jewelry boxes, and I always kind of fall flat because I get distracted really easily. I'm actually reaching off camera for water. This is a really important part of this like magic sculpt stuff, is to keep kind of wetting it down, and it rounds over the surfaces, because if you look at a seal, most of the time they're not flopping around on shore, they're in the water and they're kind of wet. So you want to have that kind of a wet effect to it. So I'm actually just running my finger with a wee bit of water over the surface and dragging it out, and that kind of evens out everything. Now in reality, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just kind of, it just works and it looks okay. I mean, I can see it from my house, but that's about it. Ooh, my heater's kicking on. Admire this beautiful seal for a minute. Yeah, all right. Anybody else have projects going on right now? Like maybe not even Christmas related gifts, but like anything else that's going, that you guys are working on in your shop? Because I don't feel like me, I got like 800 projects going at one time. But I always love to hear what other people are doing, because that's why I troll Instagram all day long, is just to see what other people are doing and to live vicariously. And you stole. So something I'm paying close attention to on these, on any carving really, is when you get down into places where there's skin folds or something like that. So it's hard to tell because I haven't done the full body on this thing yet. But anywhere where these rolls are occurring is trying to figure out where that pattern of skin's going. And oftentimes I'll have a tablet with reference shots, like really good reference shots, that I can actually just sit there and look at and say, oh, okay, well, it's going that direction. Or it's also a lot of just kind of guesswork. But it'll look good to your eye. If you're going in the wrong direction, you'll know it. Restoring family furniture. Hey. Now that is a very, very good gift idea. To bring something that has like good family memory to it, where it's already forgotten, long forgotten. That's really cool. That means a lot to a lot of folks. So you don't have to make a bunch of widgets. You can just make one big epic thing that everybody remembers. That's smart. Rob, you're awesome. Nice. All right, so my repository for ideas always ends up kind of being my Instagram saved file, which I always forget how to get there. But when I figure out how to get back to it, I have a treasure trove of videos that I have saved over the past year of things like things I want to make for the shop, or things I want to make for other people, or silly dad jokes that I have to remember and I can't. Now that's kind of my repository for things I remember or want to remember. The bookmark idea, though, would keep it at the forefront. I like that idea. I feel like I'm just hugging the seal right now. This is getting an awe moment. Can you guys hear me very well? I'm on a ghetto iPhone 10. And if you could, somebody can maybe let me know in the comments if you can hear me all right, or if I need to like shout. If I'm shouting, it'd be kind of entertaining. My kids would wake up. Bam. Awesome, thank you. This is my first YouTube live, so appreciate you guys being here. You never really know if, hopefully this would be something that somebody could use, even part of it. It's kind of a random project. A lot of my videos on my channel are specific to the woodworking crowd, but in a lot of ways, wood is a pretty limiting thing in terms of, you know, you can get as creative as you want, but it's also expensive and kind of limiting in scale. So when you talk about something this size, I'm never going to carve a seal out of wood. It's just not, I'm not the Dow, which if you've ever seen his Instagram channel, the Dow is freaking rad. Carving full alligators and tables and stuff. I don't have that kind of capital floating around, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. What I can do is take a $35 half a sheet, so $15 worth of foam, make it into an adorable seal pup for a nonprofit, which is where this is going. If you're new to stopping by here, this is actually going to go to SR3, which is down in Des Moines, Washington. They actually, SR3 is a Sea Life Rehabilitation Center. So that's what this is going to end up with for part of their educational outreach and donations, because it's going to be you'll be able to actually take dollars or whatever you want to put, you know, donation wise, into the mouth of the little seal, and it'll go inside, and you have just helped to support Sea Life. Because what they'll do is a very cool organization, is when a baby seal is stranded, ends up on the beach, people are, of course, notice it because it's adorable. But if it's abandoned, which happens a lot by the mama, say mama runs into an issue and can't get back to feed the baby, they immediately jump into their awesome ambulance looking thing and go out with their vet techs and capture the seal pups. So seal pups are usually 24 or 27 inches long when they're a few weeks old. And if they are abandoned, and they can confirm it, they will pick up that pup and take it back to Des Moines, Washington, and take it back to SR3, and they'll take care of it. So they'll feed it, do nutritional checkups. They have a beautiful looking facility with lots of custom tanks. And the seal is then raised there with, this year I think they had at the max 14 other seal pups. So the first one, they don't come in till later, but then they end up with like 14 seal pups. And yeah, the reality is that takes a lot of upkeep and a lot of money to run. So they have grants, they have donations from great businesses in the area for SR3. And then they have, you know, donations like at educational things where you can put 10s, 20s, 100s into the face of this little guy and feel warm and fuzzy. So that is why I am donating this. And it has been great working with Casey at SR3 to come up with things that would help improve their outreach. So as I'm sitting here hugging a seal, that's why, is I love critters here in the Puget Sound area. So it's always fun to help out. Now the other fun project that's part of this little package deal is gonna be a 5-foot tall orca fin. Because nothing is a better photo op than a fin off of an orca whale. So it's actually gonna be just the back of an orca, and it's a specific one from the J-Pod that they've sent me photos of. Can't recall the exact number for it, but it will be a 5-foot tall male orca whale. I don't know if it's a whale, it's a dolphin. Yeah, fin, which 5 feet tall, I'm 6'2". It's a big old whale. Like, I know they're not gonna attack you, but can you imagine that sucker like going by you in a kayak? The pucker factor would be really high. Oh, and yeah, they do. So part of the SR3 is like a very trendy sounding name, but SR3 actually stands for response, rehab, and research, but they should also throw a SR4 because it's release. If the seal pup, well, survives, because it's not always easy to take something from nature and actually get it to take well in you know, civilized world. if it survives the transition, they will keep it until it is healthy and about the size of this one sitting here on the table, and then they release it. So I actually just witnessed 3 different seals being released the other day, and they have some really funny names for them too, so it's quite entertaining. Hey, hello. Yeah, that's kind of what SR3 does. It's an incredibly well-oiled machine, and they're pretty new as far as nonprofits go. So it's really cool to be able to make something for them that can like improve, how they communicate with like kids, which is something like this. You can always explain to people like, here's how big a seal is, but until you like are able to like say, it's this big. That's how big they are at 12 or 15 weeks. It's hard to explain. So it's really neat for them to have something like this that you can put on the tabletop. It serves dual purpose, and yeah, and is representative of the critter that they're trying to actually save. Because they do have more than just seals there. I mean, they have sea lions, which are different, like California sea lions and such. But they also have, they'll do like necropsies on things. So harbor seals, or harbor porpoise, which I actually have a video that's in my channel of me building a life-size harbor porpoise as well. That kind of stuff, they will do necropsies, which is after they determine cause of death, whether it was struck by a boat or starved to death, whatever it is. They will do that kind of stuff too. So they're more than just a rehabilitation clinic for seals. Oh, the part I'm dreading is these eyes. I do have them, if you were here earlier. I have made epoxy eyes, pure black pupils that sit right in here. I'm a little bit nervous to put those in place. I don't know why, probably because I need to focus, and here I am just rambling. But I do appreciate you guys coming by. It's cool. I honestly have never done a YouTube live. I've watched very few. I probably just watched them after the fact, so it's really cool to see folks cruising along on here. I've been posting YouTube videos for a couple of years now, just here and there, because it is, I mean, time of night, 9:30, 10, 9:30. So it's yeah, it's cool to try something new. I've never done a YouTube live, but I've always wondered, and today I just felt like rambling at you guys because I'm doing something that, to me, and hopefully to you, this is something that is kind of interesting. Like, it might, on some level, go, oh, maybe I could try that. Because, again, these are like basic tools. Anybody can do it. Just takes a little bit of time, and you can make anything you want. Because I'm just like everybody else. I go work every day, and I got to actually like put the kids to sleep. I get an hour at night to come out here and hang out. So I just happen to also love to do video work. So I get a chance to actually like show off some of the fun stuff I get to do, because it is fun to share. And the sheer number of comments I get from people all over the world, like asking how I make nets or the process or anything. It is like a ton of fun. Because it's those comments when people say, hey man, you inspired me to make my first net, which I then made 10. And I'm on my 10th one, is like, or hey, you inspired me to try fish carving, which who knew that my first video I posted up here would have like 100-something thousand views. And it's just about fish carving, but to know, it's very rewarding to know that there's like a crap load of people who are just like me out there doing fish carvings and other stuff, like net building, anything that kind of just keeps that joy of the river, being outside, being out fishing, you know, all year long. That's my goal. So I'm just glad to see there's others out there. Oh, I saw that I was live by accident. I don't even know how it actually looks on the other end. Like, I've so seldom actually seen, like, stopped in and seen live stuff on here. that I don't know what it looks like on the other side. So I appreciate you guys giving me some feedback on how this is going, or if you need more explanation on something I'm doing, or recaps, anything you need, just put it in the comments and I'll do my best to field it. I'm sorry I kept you up from sleep, but hopefully this is something useful that, could be handy. But I'm gonna give a recap and a drink of water. It was awkward, me drinking water on camera. I used to be on camera for Grizzly Industrial, the tool machinery company. So I've only done a couple live things through them. Nothing is more stressful than doing a live stream talking about woodworking machine and techniques and trying not to screw up. It's like just a recipe for disaster. So it's nice to be doing something low stakes, slower, no whirling blades. But to recap here, working on a little seal carving, a future video here on my channel. And all I'm doing is kind of showing off a weird product that, a weird product that I actually am coming to really enjoy, and it's soon to be the incredibly strong exterior of this seal, and it's just Magic Sculpt. They aren't sponsoring this in any way. So far so good. I talk to people like paleo artists, which a strange group. Most people probably wouldn't seek out, but there are some incredible paleo artists who, if you try and find like how to make dioramas, so large things at museums or anything like that, you quickly realize there's a niche group of people who make full-size critters, like weird extinct animals or dinosaurs, those ones that you see and you just go, wow, when you're at the museum. There are niche people throughout the world and out in the country that do that stuff for a living. And they're pretty cool. Like, you talk to them, you can geek out over paleontology, and one thing leads to another, and you're making a Tyrannosaurus Rex head out of foam, which I do have a video build. It was one of my earlier videos actually showing that process of just kind of learning. And now you kind of get to this point where you end up with a more refined something to work with. So I've taken all those things I've learned from others, and I've refined it into a process of making something like this, a little happy seal. Now, I make it up as I go. I do get feedback from people, like professional artists and paleo artists I ask on Instagram and such, but it's kind of the fun. Very cheap, affordable way to get into making large scale projects. $20 set from Amazon for clay, modeling, tools. I think this kit from Magic Sculpt is like 2-part. It's like $40. It's so easy to like just give it a shot. You're gonna be into it about $100, $150 because you got $35 in a foam sheet and cut out with a saw. It really is like super easy to get into this and just try it. I mean, you can go out and blow $100 just getting a steak dinner. So why not like blow $100, have some little tools at the end, and $80. God, see, I'm an artist, not a math. I don't do the math. Thank you. It's just a good use of time and money, in my opinion, because you don't have to buy thousands of dollars worth of tools. $900. Wait, are we offering on my seal pup? Sorry, it's sold. I'm sorry. Actually, it's not sold. I'm doing it for free, but it is for a good cause. So. Is there like hold music that I can put on a live stream? I don't even know if that's a thing. I've just been informed by my younger colleagues at work that there is a thing called Twitch, and it also is a live streaming platform that sounds really scary, and I'm intrigued. I don't know why. I have not gone on there yet. If you have, let me know in the comments your thoughts on Twitch, because it just sounds mildly terrifying. I'm also that guy who is at that just the right age in my life where the idea of TikTok kind of also scares me. Like entering middle-aged dad mode. Yeah, it is more of a gamer platform, that's correct. So yes, I think Twitch is like that. But I was informed by my coworker that there's people who like build surfboards on there. You could go on there and like, if you have some strange niche thing, you could watch somebody actually build a surfboard and like live. And I don't know. I'm of course like at that age. I'm at that age where like the Decora Eagle project on YouTube, which if you haven't checked it out, you can run that thing on your play like at work, and it's literally just a family of eagles. It's like watching Bob Ross in real time. And the Decora Eagles are like Iowa, and it's just these happy eagles feeding their babies. And yeah, I don't know why it's like so entertaining. Well, Sauce Gloss, you're driving a hard bargain. I mean, I can retire off that money. Well, inflation. Yeah, probably couldn't retire off that money, but I like where your head's at. Man, it's hard to tell, but I have squiggled the crap out of this thing. The squiggles will look, I promise, they will look like hair on a seal. And I'll give you the strange Vanna White tour of this thing. Look at this adorable little face. It's hard to see all those details, but once I get into paints at some point here in the next forever, you're gonna be able to see, and I'll be able to define all this fur. So. Oh, well, see, there, okay. $1 trillion. 2 billion. $500 million. Oh man, I should live stream more often if that's the kind of offers we're getting on, on a half-finished seal. Oh, outbid. 5 quadrillion. Oh, I love it. You know, if I knew it would gather that much of an interest in the market, I probably wouldn't have done this for free. But this is a donation for a nonprofit that supports marine wildlife. So, well, marine wildlife rehabilitation. So they pick up seal pups out on the beach that are abandoned. And, well, they do the good work, rehabilitate them, get them back out in the wild so that my kids and I can go canoeing and enjoy them. Because they're adorable. I just love this. Let's see. Oh, I watch YouTube videos. Oh, in my workshop. All right. Well, now I'm sorry I've ruined you to let you know that Twitch exists. And also, it's a platform that I'm a little nervous about because there's also things like Reddit and the confusing nature of Reddit. Even though I know you can find lots of information about stuff like this, I don't even know where to start with that platform. So maybe some of the folks on here, you guys are Reddit fanatics. Do you like Reddit? Do you think it's a good place where you're not gonna get like trolled or like get terrible information? Like, do you typically come to YouTube for like information like on how to sculpt or carve a seal, which is probably the most random thing you'll do all day? No, you know, like not a Reddit fan. I don't know if they're thumbs downing the previous comment or if they're just not a Reddit fan, or both. No Reddit? I don't know. I've heard there's like subreddits for every freaking thing too. But again, I'm afraid to wade into it. You did Reddit. you guys have any questions or thoughts or projects that you're working on in terms of, well, like this? I mean, are there projects maybe, I don't know if you've been by my channel or if you've stumbled across here on kind of just on a whim, seeing it go live. But like on my channel, I do some projects like this. I always love to find, usually about once, twice a year, I'll find something to donate a sculpture like this too. And I do love to do that because I'm terrible at like actually like charging anything for anything. Oh, and to describe what the heck I'm doing, I'm not making some really weird textured pancake. This is Magic Sculpt. This is like clay at this point because I've added a lot of water to it, but it's just a 2-part epoxy resin. It comes in these little jars. Well, there's 2 of these, a hardener, and it's a standard epoxy. And then I'm dunking it in a fine cup of water, which is mostly Magic Sculpt at this point. I'm getting it to a nice little flattened consistency, trying to make it as even as possible. And then I am going to just slap it onto a seal, which sounds really awkward, but there you go. I am so confused right now. All right. No, I'm going this way. Yes. Yes. Please tell me you two like find each other on live stream stuff all the time, because that would actually like crack me up. Just like troll each other. It'd be quite entertaining. Just a guy rubbing weird clay-like stuff onto a seal. Nothing awkward to see here. Oh, for a tiger? Well, I do have well, it's a Homotherium cerium. It's like a saber-toothed tiger, actually out in my garage. And it's big. It is true to size too. When you actually like do the math on something like going to scale, because on any carving that I do, I actually go to scale. True to form is what that is. When you do something like a tiger or a Homotherium cerium, a saber-toothed tiger, and you realize just how freaking big that is, it's impressive. Their head is the size of a lion's, and a lion's is like, you see them on National Geographic, and you're like, oh, that's pretty big. But they're huge, like huge, huge. I feel like this kind of conversation down the comments is what ends up on Reddit, in some subreddit. I've never even been on there, but I'm guessing that's probably what happens. I've given up. $1 trillion. Wait, quadrillion was the earlier number. Are we regressing? No. We need to get back up to that. Quadrillion. Oh. Well, I don't know if that's a real number at the end there, but it sounds promising. All right. 500. All right. Hey, cool. I was an English major in college, so the maths are not my strong point. All said and done, the weight on this thing, as of right now, about 2.5 pounds. All said and done with the epoxy applied and everything, probably about 8 pounds. Maybe not even that. This stuff is not heavy, and I'm only working in very small sections. The reality is, it's not that heavy. The foam itself is super light, and yeah, you can make something really big that doesn't weigh a lot. I have had to make some structures though. Some materials like my tiger shark, 10.5 foot tiger shark, realistic weight on that thing was 450 pounds, I think was the estimate I did of girth and length. That does have steel reinforcement just to keep it in case it wanted to sag. It never has anyways. I doubt it would, but something you have to account for, because the weight of that, you know, when I was moving it around by myself, the pucker factor was pretty high. So yeah. Bye, Sauce Glass. Thank you for coming by. But yeah, the weight on these is not, that's another nice perk of working with foam. Foam interior is light. So the working time on this stuff, just as a reference in case you ever want to use like a 2-part epoxy like this, the working time on it says an hour. I've been yammering at you guys for exactly an hour, so thank you for stopping by. But stuff's still workable, and I keep adding water to it, which I think extends the work time, but I can't guarantee that. It's just like watching the British Baking Show. You just add small sections as you go. Like I'll take little dollops. See, it ends up being kind of a thick piece like this, and you massage it in water, and you just put it down, press it in, and off you go. Spread it thin, because I'm going about 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch of coverage, which means you want to get the form of the actual seal pretty close as those tolerances. You can build this stuff up. It all dries the same. It's just rock freaking hard once it's all dry, but you want to get that as close as you can. Just like that. And then smooth it out. Wet your fingers, smooth it out. Cup of water right here, just like clay. You want to add some texture. That's what you're up to. Do you have any other creations? I do. I've made all sorts of random stuff. My wife is a science teacher, so I have done life-size Tyrannosaurus Rex heads, Deinonychus, which is a raptor from the Jurassic and Cretaceous, early Cretaceous period. Yeah, the T-Rex head was life-size. That was one of my earlier foam projects. I've also done, well, a tiger shark, which is out in my garage, and it's massive. There's a video on my channel covering that, or a whole series on how to do that. And most of what I do, though, is not this large in scale. Most of what I create are one-of-a-kind replicas, so of fish. You go out and catch a fish that you catch and release, kind of fish of a lifetime, and I'll do a 1-to-1 scale replica. So that's always cool. But some of the channels that videos on my channel are what I call my catch to carve. So I'll actually choose an adventure, some place out there in the backpacking world, or just day hike, take my fly rod and my good buddy, and we'll go out and we'll catch the biggest fish possible for that day. And then I'll come back and carve a replica of that. So that's a lot of what I create. I miss Sauce Gloss too. Yeah. I feel fortunate in my little shop to be able to sleep less, but come out and actually get to make stuff. Because in the end, I always kind of tell folks my philosophy is when I'm 75 years old and I'm a little bit tired, I'm probably still going to be working at my job. because retirement might not be that thing. But I'll have made some really cool stuff. And hopefully the stuff that I make, like this, can help inspire other people to do cool stuff too, or know that they can. A lot of my sculptures like this have ended up in like middle school science classrooms and on display for people. So it's really rewarding to actually create something that a lot of people can enjoy. Especially if it's supporting a really good cause. So typically when I'm out here in the shop, it's later at night, my kids are asleep, and it's quiet time. So when I'm out here, I got my Beats headphones on, I'm zoned out, and my wife will ask me, like, what do you think about when you're out there? So I don't think about nothing. I literally just put pieces of fur texture on a seal, or I carve scales on a fish, like this. It's a somewhat recent one. There you go. There's another representative sculpture. As a German brown trout carved out of wood. That is a common project for me out here. A seal is not so common. I will be out here in the evening time, an hour or two every night until about 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I get to sit out here and make exactly what I want to do. So check that personal box, and it's always rewarding. So I highly recommend, even if you get half an hour a day, find your place, find a good spot. I just happen to have an 11 by 19 shop out here, 12 by 19 shop space that has everything I need in it, or I've filled it with everything I need to make myself happy and check that box at the end of the day after a long day of work, and get out there and just enjoy it. Make something for yourself, make something you could share with others. It's super fun. Something you're proud of too. But I'll sit out here, my headphones on, jam out to, like, I've been on camp. I don't know if anybody here has heard of camp. CAAMP. Kind of different from my usual music, but I absolutely love it. Very relaxing. So and Cato's on there off and running. Sad to say, the bidding war is over. Yep, I'm going to include whiskers on this. I actually have no idea what I intend to use for those, but I want something that will taper. So if you have any great thoughts on that one, I would love to hear it, because I've thought about whiskers on a sculpture way more than I ever thought I would think about it. That said, I'm way open to suggestions, because all the stuff I keep coming up with probably would take forever and look like garbage. Oh, so many squiggly lines, my goodness. Well, oh, howdy. Ocean Robotics. I'm on a different account. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm just taking little bits. You must have read through the previous comment. What kind of robotics? I gotta ask. Can you turn this seal into an animatronic thing? Just throwing it out there. That's beyond my wheelhouse. Oh, dang. Yes. Yes. That, you make this little flipper just kind of cruise around. I mean, game over. Nice. Well, that's 5+ more than I have in the old robotics world. I got about 20 years going experience of carving, which is like the most old man thing. When you're like 20 years old and you start carving stuff, yeah, it's like an old man hobby, but dang, is it fun. Squib wire. Squib wire. That is interesting. Okay, okay. I mean, the taper alone, 15 mil, oof, that'd be like, 15 mil is pretty good size. I'm gonna do a little research. Actually, I'm gonna write that down. Thank you for that recommendation. Yeah, the taper is gonna be the struggle when it comes to whiskers on these things. I don't know how to get back into shorts. This is actually my first live ever, and we're at 72 minutes of me just like rambling. I really appreciate the questions and the offers for $1 trillion. Oh, it doesn't taper. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out, find out about that. This is like the anti-shorts video. We're at like an hour plus of me yammering on about seals and stuff like this. Cool, fun stuff. So the shorts just didn't take. Can't say that all in 1 minute. Come on. Okay. From Syrupland. Oh, all right. I'm gonna take a wild guess. Syrupland. Northeast. Connecticut. Massachusetts. Actually, roll call. Where is everybody? I'm up in Washington State on the Olympic Peninsula. Love to see where everybody's from. Syrupland, Canada. I mean, what part of Canada? That was, relatively close. Connecticut. Come on. There you go. All right, Midwest. It's Tennessee. Beautiful this time of year. Love it. Of course, you guys have had really hot weather back there in the Midwest, like unseasonably so, right? Yeah, it sure is up there in Canada. You got that maple syrup. It's like a pastime. And you ain't kidding either, because like I go over up into BC. If I cross the border, they have a type of maple syrup that is like just like sugar cubes. It's the best damn thing I've ever had. I don't know what kind of trees you grow up there or what you're milking them with, but damn, it's good stuff. So yeah, I get it. That's a pretty good thing to be known for. I have no idea. Is there like this is the first time I've ever done a live. Is it perpetual? Is that gonna be like a time? Is there a timeline? I know, global warming sucks. Living in igloos is out. The A thing I'm questioning though. Woo. Oh, and Abby, my day is going good. Well, shoot, it's winding down. It's been a long day, but it is the end of the work week for me. Got tomorrow off. So I'm out here naturally in the wee hours of the night working on a seal. But it is a good day. It's been a good day. Every day is a good day, really. Hard to complain. Now, Tennessee, I'm a little worried about Tennessee sometimes. Last time I was there, ticks everywhere. Ticks. Javian? Hopefully I'm getting that right. I have done that. I've carved a wooden sword before. And it had a snake for a handle. It actually went up the center line of the sword. It was crazy, and my brother-in-law still has it, and he will threaten anyone he doesn't know with it. It's quite entertaining. It's hard to take a grown man seriously with a wooden sword, but he tries. And it had a rattlesnake for the on the handle. That is a worthy hobby. I have spent way too much time watching sword making videos and thinking, that's not that hard. Just a little sweat equity thrown into blacksmithing, you'll be fine. And then I come to find out, after my friends over at Grizzly gave me this. Oh, fudge. They gave me this, which is for knife sharpening. It's way heavier than I thought it would be. My friends at Grizzly gave me that to try and make a bushcraft style knife. And I realized that was a lot of work. And I've used it since in other videos. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is either. I think I'm out of that age range where I understand abbreviations. That's true. Not gonna lie there. Huh. Five Nights at Freddy's. That was like a new movie I watched some Screen Rant thing on. Still don't understand. Name a gorilla. So confused right now. I'm kind of afraid to look that up, to be honest. awesome. Who or what is Foxy? My sister wants me to build it for her. Can't help you there. Sorry. Whew. Well, been rolling for 80 minutes now, so I hate to say it, folks, but I'm gonna have to run. Well, I'm gonna keep doing this. But y'all have a wonderful evening, or wherever you're at in the world. Tend to see you're way ahead of me, so have a good evening. I'm gonna figure out how to turn this off, and yeah, have a good weekend, long weekend. Oh, I'm sorry, I must. Have fun with animatronics, though. It's awesome. Glad to hear that you got 5 years in. That's fun. Sounds like a fun hobby. So, thanks, Rob. I appreciate the questions, and catch y'all later.